You've been given what, officer on special duty or some kind of cabinet rank in Punjab to Amrinder Singh, with whom you worked, Captain Amrinder Singh, with whom you worked for in 2017. There's buzz in Rajasthan that you are doing some work for Ashok Gehlot. Is this all true, not true? What is the buzz?
Well, Rajdeep, you are experienced enough to know that if you help someone win the election, it is nothing if they offer you a principal advisor or you know some job. They would always like you to be by their side because it suits them. It is for me to decide whether I want to do that or not. Right now I'm telling you on record that I quit this space and I'm not doing this kind of work for anybody.
I think the stress is getting to you. Because you've been going back and forth, Chennai, Kolkata, 1 o'clock flight, 2 o'clock flight, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock landing. Is it just that you need some time? You need to go to the Maldives once this thing gets over, spend time with your family, go wherever else you want and get a breather. Is that really what you want?
I definitely want to go back and spend time with my wife, my son, that's there, but definitely not to Maldives. These are not the times to go to Maldives. But whatever I'm able to do, taking a break is on the card, but not because I'm very tired. I always wanted to quit this space on a time when I'm not accused of running away or not handing it over at the right time. I think this is the right time for me to hand over to others.
Okay, so we'll park your own semi-retirement or retirement from election campaign management for a moment to get into this election. Explain what we don't know.
Rahul, I must take this 1 minute of yours. You told me that right-wing trolls are going to make your life miserable because BJP will cross 100 and you will not quit. I am telling, please gift it to them that I have quit this space. They should continue to troll.
So let's play that comment. Those are famous last words. Let's play that out. We have that comment. हमने तैयार रखा है. Prashant Kishor, आप सुनो भी उसको. You know, this is what Prashant Kishor said when we met him in Kolkata, where he announced that he would give up politics or he would give up this political space if the BJP crossed 100 seats. Here is Prashant Kishor.
So you're saying that the BJP is playing mind games? You've been playing some number games of your own. You put out a tweet saying that if the BJP gets 3 digits,
yes,
you will give up politics?
Yeah, I will give up this space, meaning
what
I
does
will
that mean? You give up Twitter?
No, I will give up the work which I do.
And what will you do if the BJP gets 3 digits?
I will not do the work which I am doing. I will quit this space.
You are serious about it?
Absolutely serious.
Be careful about what you are saying. Yahi bite baar-baar chalegi.
Please, if you will play this bite only if I continue doing this work ever, if BJP gets more than 100 seats.
So you got that spot on, Prashant Kishor. The question is, what enabled it? What, according to you, enabled Didi to cross 200 as she has at the moment and the BJP less than 100? What was that X factor?
Well, Rajdeep, as you know, it's not that we are any wiser or we had a crystal ball, but the assessment was based on certain things on the ground, what we were seeing. BJP did not, to my mind, did not factor in the changes that Didi undertook post her quote-unquote setback during Lok Sabha, and they were still living with that same premise that because the mistakes, whatever she made in Lok Sabha, she will continue to make those mistakes, and they went on with the same premise without factoring in the changes, and hence they were caught unaware and caught unguarded, to my mind.
What was the change?
All that Didi has done both on the political side. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that all what was done on the political side or on the governmental side, unfortunately those who cover elections or those who report on elections, they are least bothered about those things. So no one has talked about Didi Ke Bolo and 45 lakh people calling and telling her what they were upset with or what they would like her to do. No one has reported extensively about Dware Sarkar, in which her government reached out and delivered to 2.87 crore people individual or household benefits. No one has talked about Paray Samadhan, where 10,000 habitations were identified, what the problem they were facing, and we tried to address as many as possible. No one has given much importance to the fact that those who were leaving Trinamool were actually the rotten eggs. I dare say this, they were the rotten eggs, and those who were picking, in this case BJP, BJP were picking those rotten eggs and feeling very good about it. And media was amplifying it as if Trinamool is collapsing without realizing that Trinamool was cleaning its house. They have kept the garbage outside and you came and you took all that garbage in your party. Now you see, you pay the price.
You're using very strong.
Trinamool have gone to BJP. Most of them have lost the elections.
You're using very strong words: garbage, rotten eggs. Clearly,
absolutely. They have been, most of them. If you do individual check, the people who have left Trinamool, I'm saying most, not all. Most of them were the ones who we found were the turning out to be big liability for the party, either because of their corruption, either because of their muscle man imagery, or what they were doing or not doing as public representatives. Or in some cases, they were hobnobbing with BJP. So if they were pushed out, media was feeling as if Trinamool is collapsing. But you see the result. Those who went on the other side and quote unquote were presented to the world as the game changers, as the big men and women who had the sway with the voters, they have turned out to be nothing but zero.
Not just has the
They have not been able to
Trinamool
win their own MLA seats.
been able to win West Bengal.
And I must,
Yes.
I must be humble enough to say that it's not that all what we have done is right. In our victory, we must have done many mistakes. The victory does not make us wiser or intelligent than others. But to my mind, BJP was just living in the air. They just believed that their journey, which they started 4 or 5 years back, which was a credible effort on their part, they got the benefit in Lok Sabha. They did not pause and looked at the fact that, oh, if Trinamool does some course correction, what all they need to do.
Before
they just
Rahul,
thought that it will continue on the same path.
So
and
before Rahul,
I have seen this happening with them in 2015 in Bihar as well.
Before Rahul
BJP
jumps
is
in,
such a big machinery,
Right.
such a big shape,
go ahead.
that it takes a lot of effort on their part to do course correction. They just go in unidirectional. If those who are challenging them, if they do course correction, BJP, I haven't found the BJP present leadership very nimble in correcting their strategy. And that is where probably they have got it wrong.
Very
as
interesting.
Bengal is concerned.
What you're saying is the BJP was still in a 2019 mindset where they were playing the politics of Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate, or playing an element of Muslim appeasement, questioning Mamta Banerjee's handling of the Panchayat polls of 2018 violence. You claim Mamta Banerjee course corrected and the BJP continued to play the same Hindu-Muslim narrative or the same Bhaipo narrative, attacking Abhishek Banerjee, corruption, and Mamta course corrected. Am I correct? Broadly, that's what you're claiming. And the BJP is not nimble enough to change.
I give you they are not nimble enough, yes. They might be very smart, very experienced, but I give you an example. The Jai Sri Ram, the way they used in Lok Sabha and the dividend it paid to them, they continue to use Jai Sri Ram, but Didi did not make the same mistake what she would have done in Lok Sabha. So if you are not nimble enough and you are still thinking that it will pay you the same dividend, this is what will happen to you.
Not just as the Trinamool won PK in West Bengal, the party has been able to increase its vote share by about 3.5% according to the latest trends that have come in. How did you make this possible? Because the BJP's big hope was that by being able to engineer a subaltern, lower caste, Dalits, tribal, Hindu polarization, they'd be able to beat the Muslim-dominated Trinamool Congress. You've been able to prevent that from happening. How?
But I told you when I spoke to you, and I also had an opportunity to speak to Rajdeep, I told you the same thing, that Bengal election is bipolar. So BJP's whole hypothesis that the third front or somebody will come and cut the Muslim vote is completely not true. The second thing is the majority vote. There is a limit to the polarization. Everyone talks about polarization and then they give up that Hindus are completely polarized, hence they are going to vote for BJP. We looked at hard data and we have been telling this again and again that in the most polarized situation, you cannot expect to get more than 55% of the community. It holds true for Hindu, it holds true for Muslim. So that leaves us 45% of the Hindu vote. and we concentrated on that 45%. In my so-called clubhouse chat, I have been telling this, that Dalits are voting for them. But the recognition of the fact that Dalits were with BJP made us do very extensive outreach both on the government side and the political side to take as much as we could. So even if I took 30-35% Dalits back, it's a vote added to my kitty.
No, but I don't agree with what you're saying, because neighboring, very close to West Bengal is Assam, where the BJP has been able to achieve the kind of Hindu polarization that you're saying is not possible. That is exactly why, apart from the development and effort, other effort they made.
In Assam, they are facing Congress. There is a huge difference between when you are facing Congress and when you are facing...
What is the difference?
Rahul, let me push him on that. You've made an important point, because Rahul and I have been discussing this for the last couple of days. It is easier for the BJP to take on the Congress, whether at state or national elections, certainly national elections, than take on a regional party. Is that a message you think, and you've worked with several regional leaders now and Congress leaders. Also. Is that the big difference between working with, say, a Jagan Mohan Reddy or a Mamata Banerjee, and indeed the Congress which you worked with in Uttar Pradesh, yes, to some extent in Punjab as well, that the regional leaders are more willing to fight for every last inch of space than the Congress?
It is not about national leaders or regional leaders. It is about willingness to accept that there is something that is wrong within my setup or my working, and make a sincere effort, which sometimes can pay and sometimes it might not pay. But willingness to do the course correction. If, say for example, Lok Sabha results, Mamata Banerjee got the setback, quote unquote. In her victory of 22 MPs and BJP won 18, she was scared, she took help, she did, it's not about Prashant Kishor. She must have recognized that she need to do something different. Now, what did Congress do? Congress got the probably same or the worst number everywhere in the country. Did they do anything? If Didi would have got up 15 days before the Bengal election, do you think she would have been able to get this result?
No, so is it their ability?
She could have still lost. She could have still...
Is it their ability to course correct, or their ability to be more locally rooted? Is it their local rootedness? There's a sense that Didi connects to the people of Bengal in a way that high command national party leaders may not connect in state election. There's a feeling that if Didi, for example, tried to become, had prime minister ambition, she may not succeed. But in Bengal, she's suited to the local milieu. That's where regional leaders have an advantage over so-called national leaders. Is that true?
No, Rajdeep. It holds true in every walk of the life. If you have a problem, you have to first accept that there is a problem. So long you don't accept, you talk to many Congress leaders, they would still say that, you know, we are good, there is nothing wrong. They're just like waiting for things to happen for them. I'm nobody to comment about Congress. They are very smart people, they are wise, experienced, they're a 100-year-old party. Who am I to advise Congress? All I'm trying to say is that those who want to take on BJP, they have to fight it. If you don't fight, where is the chance for you fight? Then you can win or you can lose. Every time you fight, you will not win. But at least you will fight. I see in some cases, or in many cases, Congress is not even fighting as much as they should or they could.
What, according to you, PK, are the mistakes made by the BJP during this election campaign that you were able to capitalize on? If you were to look back and say, okay, here are the mistakes they made, and this is how I capitalized on them.
They did not take cognizance of the changes that was happening in Trinamool, in the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, the way she have governed, or the changes she has brought on the political side. Trinamool in last 1 year and a half has completely, not 100%, but to a large degree, they have changed their leadership, their district leadership, their block leadership. They have changed their style of functioning. They have changed the way they organize themselves for the elections, the way they respond to the communication or other challenges that BJP brings to the table. They have done all those things. I must keep on repeating, despite doing all these things, we could have very well lost the election. But you would not find fault in her not making an effort. That is the difference between her and probably some of the players who have lost out. there is no point in for a political party to keep on saying that I'm not winning because media is not with me, I don't have resources, system is completely against me. Everything was against us in Bengal as well.
What
And
was
you
against?
have to accept that media will not be with you.
What
You have
was
to
against?
accept that election commission will side with BJP.
What was? Are you telling me you believe the election commission sided with the BJP? Are you telling me that you believe that this was Didi versus all? Because the Congress also was taking it on.
Absolutely in the victory of Trinamool, I must tell you, because if I would have lost and told this same thing, you and your viewers would have said that I'm grieving because I have lost. I have never ever seen a more partial election commission than what is happening today. All political parties must come together and put pressure on election commission to reform itself, whether it is the use of religion, whether it is the scheduling, whether it is the way the laws are applied to both sides. It's completely partial. Never ever we have lived through the hell in last 1 month when the state has been under election commission. They have done everything to help BJP win. Make no mistake, I'm telling it on record. They can charge me for making these allegations. They have been working as the extension of BJP.
This is a this is huge. You're saying that.
I want you to be more specific,
okay,
Prashant, on this.
Sorry.
Explain with anecdotal evidence what you've experienced or seen which makes you believe that the election commission, from the scheduling to the manner in which the election was conducted, you believe was partial and biased in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Boss, just take the scheduling of the election. 8 rounds in the pandemic time. What made you do this? Only because you wanted to give more opportunity to the BJP leaders to come and campaign, because in your own words, you have said it that they are the best players in the slog overs. So before every 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 constituency went for poll, you wanted to give maximum possible time to the Prime Minister and the Home Minister and a whole host of other leaders who wanted to come and campaign aggressively for BJP. In the middle of the election, and forget about that, even if I say, okay, it was in the name of law and order, tell me in your experience of covering election in last so many years, when a district was carved out in 4 phases, one district, just because that district was supposedly seen as a Trinamool's stronghold, that district polled in 4 phases. Why did it happen? It just because you wanted to have these 4 seats, 5 seats, 10 seats, so that there is no momentum in favor of Trinamool. All the first phase or second phase, is it the coincidence that bulk of the seats which BJP won, hear me out, is it the coincidence that bulk of the seats which BJP won in Lok Sabha went for poll early? Is it the coincidence? And who are they trying to fool? Who are they trying to fool? In the COVID times, they have exposed millions of people to this virus just because they could not say no to BJP.
You know, you're making a very serious, you're making a very serious charge which you're trying to substantiate with evidence that the EC was an extension of the BJP. But interestingly,
Rajdeep,
yeah, go ahead.
Rajdeep, you have covered election long enough. Tell me one incident where one district has polled in 4 rounds. 4 rounds. Chaubis South has polled in 4 rounds. Just because BJP has not won a single seat there. I'll give you another example. To the best of my understanding, use of religion is prohibited during the campaigning. You have covered election in Bengal. If this was not use of religion, tell me what else would constitute use of religion for the voting purposes. It has been the blatant use of religion, Jai Sri Ram or Bharat Mat or Om or the flags. I have seen more flags of Om and Bhagwa than the BJP flags on the ground.
No,
have you seen Election Commission doing anything about it? These are the serious issues.
Sure.
Who wins, who loses doesn't matter. Tomorrow we can lose.
You're sounding like a politician now, Prashant,
but
already.
What are you doing?
You're making the transition. You're making the transition to being.
I'm not sounding like a politician.
No, but you've got a very strong case. I think there's a genuine feeling. No. Let me be clear. There's a genuine feeling that the EC is
Why don't you call an election commission? Why don't you call election commissioners and ask them for them to give one solid reason why they did 8-round election in Bengal.
Okay. I just want to
Why
ask
did
you.
they do that if
Okay,
you want to help
we will certainly question the election commission. We've been trying to do so, but I want to ask you, Prashant, that 8-phase election, strangely enough, when I look at the numbers, actually the TMC got the momentum. By round 5, 6, 7, 8, if I look at these numbers, you swept. What explains that? Was it just the strongholds were coming later, or that COVID came around the middle of April and changed the election narrative?
No, I'm so glad that we have done equally well in round 1 and round 2, round 3, round 4 as well, so that this whole bogey of COVID, we lost because of COVID, is not going to hold. I must tell you, people have decided, this 48-49% is what we have been getting in all our polls in last 6-7 months. I'm not an idiot to come on television, as you are saying that I'm making a transition to become a leader. No, as a professional, I have been on record saying that Trinamool is going to get, BJP will not get 100. Because in all our polls, since November, December, after Duare Sarkar, I have been finding 8 to 10% gap between BJP and Trinamool. And what I was claiming was based on solid data. The problem is, I'm available.
Was that women? Was that the women?
No one is going to go
No.
and ask Amit Shah. No, hold on.
You're in a row.
No
Go
one
ahead.
is going to ask Amit Shah that on what basis he was making a claim of 200 seats. Not only 200 seats. After every round, he gave a specific number. After every round of poll, he said, after 2 rounds, BJP is winning 48 seats. After 4th round, we are winning 122 seats. As if he has the crystal ball. What makes you think that anyone can call that 122 seats? He's not saying 120 to 125. He's saying after 4 rounds, I'm winning 122 seats. And people are made to believe that, including the journalists.
Prashant, just 1 minute. When you say that, that you were confident on your data, was it, as you said, majority of a minority and minority of a majority, or was it also what I see as an important factor, the Mahila factor? This is what I saw. Women tend to vote more with Mamta. They identify with her. Was that a key factor?
It's a combination of things. If I give you the hard data which we have been polling, 70% minorities, 70-75% minorities have been voting for Trinamool, irrespective of what ISF is doing, Jot is doing, or some other fringe elements have been trying to do. As far as Hindus are concerned, BJP in their strong areas, they have been polling 50 to 55%, and 40 to 45% Hindus have been voting for Trinamool. And that is why I have been telling that there is a limit to the polarization which ends around 55%. This is not only in Bengal. You can go back in history in last 10, 15, 20 years, analyze data yourself, and you will figure it out that state after state, election after election, BJP has not been able to get, or for that matter any party, more than 50% of one community. In UP, they get 40% vote. Hindus are 80%. That means they are getting 50% of the total Hindu vote. It's rather simple, but no one wants to look at it. You are saying polarization means all 70% Hindu has voted for BJP or are going to vote for BJP. Now, how can I help you if you are not willing to look at it?
Okay, so you were challenging and questioning Amit Shah, the Home Minister and the former BJP President, and you deny it, and so does he. But there is a bit of a grudge match.
I'm not challenging or questioning Amit Shah. I'm expecting that some of you who wanted to hold me accountable for my proclamation of BJP 100 seat must find courage to ask some of the BJP leaders, if not Amit Shah,
Prashant, 1 minute. Prashant, in an interview that I did with him, he had said that, why do you question me?
I want to see an interview. No, Rajdeep, I'm saying I want to see an interview with any one of you with Amit Shah ji, where you are grilling him that why did you say, on what basis you said. You are asking me and I'm answering you.
Pakka guarantee. जैसे आपसे पूछा उनसे भी पूछेंगे. हम तो डरते किसी से
first time he has done it.
No, but what,
नहीं पूछेंगे भाई.
Sure, you're making very important. Are you saying that Amit Shah was fooling was trying to create a mahal that the BJP is winning, even though he knew they were not? Or do you think he himself was convinced, because you've seen the BJP at close quarters and the Modi Shah, the so-called Mo Shah game. Were they trying to convince the journalists coming from Delhi in particular ki ek hawa bana do?
See, I cannot say that. I don't want to attribute motive. Whether he was making a genuine mistake because he was wrong in his assessment, or whether he was doing it knowing that it is not the truth, in both cases, he is right in what he was doing. I'm not questioning him. I'm questioning the journalists. I have said this in my interview with you. There is no harm in you telling that Amit Shah claims 200 seats and Mamata Banerjee claims 200 seats. But the problem starts when you say Amit Shah ne kaha, matlab BJP ko to 200 aa raha hai. Bhai, Amit Shah's assessment or proclamation should be open for scrutiny as much as.
अरे पर आपका भी तो दिखाया जब आपने बोला 100 से ज्यादा नहीं आएंगी इतना तो आपका भी दिखाया.
No, दिखाया नहीं. The point, Rahul, is did we did we get carried away?
भाई राहुल जी, आपको पता है मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ?
नहीं, मेरे को नहीं पता क्योंकि आपका भी हमने दिखाया, उनका भी दिखाया. आप बोल रहे हो कि 100 से कम आएंगी, बीजेपी वाले बोल रहे दिखाते हैं उसको. अब तो आप जीत गए, that's a different matter. But the fact is, whether you like it or not, this is a grudge match, and today you won a grudge match and you have full bragging rights. That's the reality. Jo jeeta wahi Sikandar. Today Prashant Kishor is Sikandar.
No, you are not understanding me. If you think it's a grudge match, you are not understanding me. All I'm saying is I could have been on the losing side. There's no two way about it. I'm not claiming to be more smarter than anybody else. I'm saying as a media, when it's not that he has made this claim first time in Bengal. He has made such claims in the past as well. I have no problem in you showing them that he is claiming it. I have problem when you start taking that as a voice coming from the God. Okay. And you are saying that how can Trinamool even fight because Amit Shah said that BJP is winning 200. That is the problem.
Okay, let's look. You've seen this big victory today. What does this do to national politics? Because you made an interesting point during our interviews where you said if the BJP wins, it'll confirm a one nation, one party narrative, the so-called Ashwamedh Yagna, those are my words, will move ahead. Do you think that this halts the BJP's juggernaut, or do you accept that the BJP remains the dominant parties and only rooted regional leaders can take them on, whether it's a Pinarayi Vijayan in Kerala or whether it's a Mamata Banerjee today in Bengal?
Well, I wouldn't call it a major challenge to BJP at national level. They will remain a very dominant political force at national level. Why national? They will remain a very dominant force in Bengal as well. This is another point which I made. Unfortunately, in this country, we are reducing ourselves to the binaries where you have no scope for making any nuanced argument. BJP is a strong political force in Bengal and probably will remain a strong force. That does not mean that they are going to win all elections. BJP, just because Mamata Banerjee, they have lost Bengal, that does not mean that they are not going to be a strong political force or they are going to set their dominance at the national level. If they need to be they are to be challenged at national level. People have to find their act. They have to put their act together. It's not going to happen on its own just because they have lost Bengal.
Let's switch attention.
Ek point
dominance at national level will continue.
So are you saying that because Rahul and I have been discussing this, that national elections and state elections fought on very different narratives. And the BJP, we are finding that when they find state elections with Mr. Modi not on the ticket, seem to go down compared to national elections. To that extent, would you say that winning Bengal doesn't mean that the BJP will be downsized in a general election? When Mr. Modi is on the ticket, he is still Neta number one. You worked with him. When it's a state election, the BJP needs to work on local factors, which they're not always successful at, as we saw today in Bengal.
Mr. Modi is being the candidate and his popularity or charisma is just one of the factors. The major factor is where is the alternative. You have to bring together an alternative which has got the face, which has got narrative, more than anything else, has got the fire in the belly to fight it out. That is much more important. If there is no competition, of course, the person who is there on the pedestal will continue to have the dominance.
You worked briefly with Rahul Gandhi. Does he have that fire in the belly? Do you believe the Congress also needs to they've actually been decimated in Bengal, and one of the reasons you've done well is, one of the many reasons is that the Congress votes seem to switch to the TMC. Do you believe that the Congress under Rahul Gandhi doesn't have the fire in the belly?
I'm nobody, and no matter how many times you ask me, I'm nobody to comment on Rahul Gandhi. He's too big a person for me to comment. Who am I? All I'm saying is, whether it's Rahul Gandhi, whether it's Congress, whether it's Didi or somebody else, there is no substitute of doing 24/7 the hard work and putting 2, 3, 4, 5 years effort to be able to challenge BJP, whether it is in a state or in national level. In Bengal, this has been done last 1.5 years. Since June 2019, we are on it day in and day out. It has not been a 15-day or 1 month effort.
You also fought elections in Tamil Nadu, Prashant, where the DMK currently leads on 136.
Yes.
Are you a bit disappointed with the fact that the DMK's victory in the end isn't quite as sweeping as you would have liked it to be? You've got a big victory here, but are you a little short of your expectation in Tamil Nadu?
Yes, this is another important point which we keep telling you. Remember, you asked me, is Bengal more tougher than, is Tamil Nadu easy? And what did I answer? No election is easy. You should not take it easy just because it is looking easy to you sitting in Delhi, or for that matter, Calcutta. Elections, wars, exams should never be taken serious, should never be taken lightly. DMK, those who are sitting and saying, it's, अरे तमिल नाडु में क्या है, वो तो ऐसे स्वीप होने वाला है, वो तो कोई नहीं है, बस DMK को फाइट कर जाना है और उनको 2/3 majority आ जाएगी, नहीं आया ना. So every election has got its own nuances. You can be in a formidably, very strong position, and still the result could be short of your expectation or what you could have got.
No, but where do you think
So, yes,
you fell short?
Tamil Nadu was never as easy as it was meant to be.
So let's delve into this, because clearly E. Palanisamy seems to have given you a much bigger fright than you would have imagined. And maybe the magic of Stalin isn't quite all that it was made out to be. And over the next 5 years, Palanisamy will be able to keep Mr. Stalin on his toes.
I think if I have to, we have to wait for the final numbers, but if I have to pinpoint, of course it will take some time for us to assess what probably didn't go the way, what all did not go the way we would have liked it to be. One thing which I can look from the distance and say that we were probably defensive. DMK gave too many seats, even in this, despite our push, they gave too many seats to the allies. The allies' strike rate would have been lesser. I have not looked at the number, but this is my hunch. The second thing is the changes that they need to bring in the party probably were not as many as we would have liked it to be.
You know,
because again, you are fighting election.
So let me ask you a direct question and a straight question, and I want to see, I know what you think of it, I want to see what you say on air. Do you think, Mr. Prashant Kishor, that the decision taken by your political client, the DMK, of having Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, the son of Mr. Stalin, contest on a DMK ticket was a mistake? Did it reinforce the dynastic tendencies and the perception around the DMK?
No, I don't think, I don't think that has been that big an issue. The issue has been DMK is an old party. It is a cadre-based party where Mr. Stalin has now taken over as a leader. He has been bringing change, but probably not enough to completely transform it. Probably, and I must take blame for it, that we were not aggressive enough, or in bringing all those changes in the systems, protocols, people who are responsible on the ground, as many changes as people were expecting DMK to do. To completely reform, rebrand, reposition the party. So some of the old legacies might have affected the overall outcome.
Already
but you have to also realize that when you are in position of MK Stalin, when you are, just if I can just conclude, if you are in position of Mr. MK Stalin, who are probably fighting your first election without your father or the leader of the party, you tend to be a little more defensive. It is relatively easier, it was easier for Mamata Banerjee to be aggressive because he is an incumbent chief minister 10 years. When you have not been to that position, you try to be a little more cautious, and that might have affected the total number.
Very interesting that an incumbent, in a sense, it's easier to course correct with an incumbent than an anti-incumbent.
It's also down to personality. He's not saying it, it's down to the personality of the
it could be, but Prashant Kishor, already your comments on the Election Commission are making waves. Everyone is putting it on Twitter saying Prashant Kishor is telling it like it is. I want to understand from you, since you're being so candid, that is that the big challenge you believe in elections now, that institutionally, because the BJP is so powerful, the opposition parties are fighting on various fronts. And had the Congress, for example, been in Didi's place, they would have run away. That it required someone like Mamata Banerjee's street fighter instincts to take on the system. Do you think that going ahead, resources with one party, institutional benefits that one party have, makes it that much more difficult unless you have that street fighter instinct?
You have to prepare yourself to fight as opposition. In Bengal, we have been telling every worker, every leader that make no mistake, when election comes, you will have to fight as if you are in opposition, because when election commission comes, it will be BJP, Bengal will come under the BJP rule. And actually that is what has happened, and we were prepared. So the larger point is, those who are trying to take on BJP, there is no point in cribbing about media not being with you, resources not being with you, election commission. Of course, efforts should be made towards bringing some balance on those fronts. Right. But as a political party, you have to fight knowing that these things are against you, because while their power, their interference, or their not being impartial plays a role, it cannot supersede the will of the people. Yes, if all these things would not have been there, maybe BJP number would have been down by another 20 seats. So 60 can become 80, but 60 cannot become 200, no matter how many times election commission helps you, no matter how much money you spend, no matter how many officers are working for you.
How do you see the result in Bengal impact the big election in West Bengal next year, in Uttar Pradesh next year?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I can't comment about what it will do to Uttar Pradesh. It will, at the country level, I do see it empowering little bit on the margin, I should say, to those who want to raise the voice, those who are able to say or wanting to say something which is wrong, which they see wrong in this system or the ruling dispensation in Delhi. Probably, my hope is that our victory in Bengal will give them some strength and they would be able to raise voice. One Mamta Banerjee or Prashant Kishor or one victory in parts of India is not enough.
You don't see
force. They have to raise voice. They have to.
You don't see Mamta Banerjee becoming a magnet for these forces. Already she's being congratulated by Arvind Kejriwal, Sharad Pawar, Omar Abdullah. Do you see her becoming a magnet? Do you really see 2024 as somehow already saying Mamta versus Modi? Or is that a mistake being made that in a way conflating a state verdict with a national verdict?
Big mistake. Big mistake. Anyone who thinks you have seen it, we have seen it, and big mistake that 10 different forces coming together will create one coherent political force is a big mistake. To the best of my understanding, it's not going to work. Whether it is, you make whoever is put as the core, whether it's Mamta Banerjee or somebody else. Unless you have one composite narrative going for you, unless you have a cohesive unit which is fighting as one unit, with one narrative, with a face, with an agenda, with the resources, with the, then just by 15 people calling you or joining hands or coming in swearing in ceremony is not going to change things.
Is that, you're talking about narrative because one of those narratives that is now building up is the biggest challenge that Mr. Modi has faced, the country has faced in decades, which is COVID. Do you see COVID changing politics in this country, including electoral politics, where whoever is in government has to perform on handling COVID in an empathetic way, ensuring good governance? Will that be a big challenge for any government? Now, Pinarayi Vijayan has passed the test. Others may well pass the test in the future. Is that a bigger challenge than any? Will that change narratives?
Well, it could change the narrative, but Rajiv, again, I would say, in democracy, you need catalysts. The issues on their own are not enough for governments to go or come. Corruption was an issue. Till someone became a catalyst in form of India against corruption, it never became a political issue. It's not that what JP raised in 70s was not an issue before or after. But in democracy, you need politics, and that's why you need political leaders, that's why you need political parties, because they are to act as catalysts to channelize some of these people's opinion and thinking and issues, as we say, into popular mandate or mandate against somebody who is ruling.
Achha,
it will not happen on its own. And that's why we see...
You had a big victory. आपने बहुत serious बातें सारी कर ली. अब आपने मेरी थोड़ी बात रखनी है. My colleague Maushmi Singh is over there. I want you to do a जब we met with the heroic IPAC team. मैं सुन रहा हूँ आपके पीछे खूब म्यूजिक बज रहा है. अब मैं देखना चाहता हूँ ये म्यूजिक कौन बजा रहे हैं. आपके बंदे हमें वीडियो बना के दिखा रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूँ कि थोड़ा आप अपनी टीम के साथ एक जब भी मैट कीजिए, हल्का सा घूम के आइए, हमें भी दिखाइए म्यूजिक IPAC के दफ्तर से कहाँ आ रहा है. Let's see how the IPAC team is celebrating.
They can.
आप घुमाओ, आप मिलो अपनी टीम से. हम तो घूम ही लेंगे.
So no one is celebrating.
नहीं, आप थोड़ा सा घूम लो अपनी टीम के साथ, मिल लो.
But Maushmi can go. She can talk to people. Your cameraman can go interview them.
Okay.
It's free, but because of COVID, we have shut down, and there are very few people who have come back just after the result. But by and large, most people have been asked to go home.
अच्छा, एक मिनट रुको. एक वो अमित शाह की बाइट भी आप सुन लो. We pulled out a bite. I don't know if we found the right bite or not. एक मिनट सुन लो. हमारे प्रोड्यूसर बड़े कीन है कि आपको सुना दे. हमने पहले भी पूछा था, फिर से भी पूछेंगे एक बार. आपको हम अमित शाह की बाइट सुना दे.
इसी तरह से चुनाव आगे बढ़ता रहा. भारतीय जनता पार्टी 200 से ज्यादा सीटों के साथ बंगाल में सरकार बनाएगी, इसका मुझे विश्वास है. भाजपा के सभी कार्यकर्ताओं का विश्वास है. आसाम में भी अभी जो सीटें हैं, इससे ज्यादा सीटों के साथ हम पूर्ण बहुमत की भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाएंगे.
No, so he's basically saying next time you get an opportunity, ask him where those numbers went, and that question will be asked when the opportunity does come along.
Prashant Kishor, as we end, fascinating. You're saying you're retiring from this,
but I will say good luck to him.
Okay, people like you never retire. I want to know, are you going to, very quickly, was this the toughest election, or do you maintain that Punjab fighting AAP was tougher?
Punjab fighting AAP was tougher because
ऐसे ही बोलते हैं आप.
Okay.
This is not,
I know BJP. I know BJP and I know how they fight.
Okay, you know BJP and you know how they fight. In conclusion, you've still left it ambiguous only on one point. What next? No, but already people are asking me from Punjab, is Prashant going to be part of Captain Amrinder Singh's campaign or not? People are asking me, is Prashant forming a political party? Someone else is saying, please tell Prashant Kishor form a political party.
No, but somebody else messaged to say, Prashant understands politics. He also understands the chance that a Brahman has in Bihar. If he goes to Bihar, as a Brahman leader in Bihar, what chance? But that's the politics Prashant told us he wants to change. Because this whole idea of caste-based politics is what I remember when we met in Patna. You said you want to change. You want to respond to those who say a Brahman in Bihar has no chance?
Okay. Okay, if I choose to be in Bihar and whatever I choose to do, of course it will not be hidden. You will get to know, and then I will be equally open about discussing it on camera. No worries about it.
So you're not
Right now, let's stick to Bengal.
So you're not. So it's not about a Rajya Sabha seat. You're looking for something bigger. You're hoping to play a role in public life. I'm correct. Am I correct? A role in public life.
You know it. I'm saying you know it better than I know. If I would have wanting to go to Rajya Sabha, or if I wanted to become someone's advisor, I would have done it long back.
अच्छा, let's just walk around the IPAC office. अब आप हमारी मौसमी के साथ एक बार अपने ऑफिस का चक्कर लगा दो बस.
I will ask.
नहीं, आप साथ में चलो. मौसमी ले जाओ, पकड़ के ले जाओ. Go do it.
So Rahul, I was talking to you. Yes, I was talking to you that Prashant has got a bundle of energy in his office, Rahul.
More of television. You will see more of television cameras than.
घूमो, मौसमी ऑफिस दिखाओ इनका.
In the background, some people there. No, but what is there?
Can you just walk with I just want you to stand with your team. They've been all really pepped up and they've been watching your interview on the TV screen here, as India Today was being played out. And here Prashant Kishor, the master strategist, Rahul.
No, I'm not a master strategist. This is the word I have.
Ghana, you told me there's some dancing and singing going on?
Where are all the people who are singing at the back, Maushmi?
Dance and sing. I don't know the dance.
ये सब आपसे डरते हैं.
खेला हो बे.
Go.
So here is the Khela with Prashant and his team.
No, I'm good.
Speak to some of these young people. Yeah, Prashant is being too serious. Just go speak to some of these young people.
No, just get them to dance.
It's their big day.
No, they have to dance to Khela ho be. Dance to Khela ho be.
These guys.
Yes, we won. We won. Did it to be our CM. Day and night for the past.
We did it, and this is the time for Bengal to do it. Did IPAC do it also?
Sorry?
Did I do it? Finally conquered.
Yes, finally it's Khela Hobe!
Khela Hobe, we won.
We won!
So how tired are you? Are you tired, Fatih?
We didn't tire. We have done 3 election campaign. We are now on. We can go anywhere else.
You can go anywhere else, not tired at all?
No, not at all. We'll be again doing it. It's fun for us.
No, just look at these scenes. People, really egged up and pepped up, excited. That's the scene. I've been here since 3 years.
Right, yeah. Yes, we won. We came around 10 in the office and we wanted the DD to win about 200.